Good morning and welcome to the 2023 Academic Symposium. My name is Kristen Leeson, and I, along with Dr. Caitlin Deskins, will be your host for the event. We're now in our sixth year of celebrating our student and mentor research at Quincy University. Before we begin today's presentation, we would like to thank our students and our mentors for participating in the event. We'd also like to thank QU Office of Community Relations and Jim Lawrence for their help with promoting and recording the event. Lastly, to Chartwells and to Dan Kemner for our food and our setup. Just a little housekeeping. Please go ahead and silence your cell phones at this time. Additionally, the structure for the event will go as follows. Presenters will share their information with you for about 15 to 20 minutes. They will then ask for questions, and we'll pass a microphone around at that point. When finished, we'll take a short break so you can get up and get a snack or drink, and then we will try to stay right on our schedule. And with that, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll have a word from Dr. McGee.
Hello, Hawks. President Brian McGee here. I'm often talking to you about specific events on campus or things that are happening day by day. No event makes me more excited than the Academic Symposium. Each year we recognize your academic achievements, your original research projects, your creative endeavors, and we have the opportunity to showcase those for our entire community, whether face-to-face or online. Doing so is an essential part of our academic mission. It shows the world what it is that Quincy University students can do and are doing each and every day in classrooms, labs, and across this campus. I'm so excited you're here today. I'm so excited for the opportunity you have to demonstrate all that you've learned, all that you've engaged, all that you've studied, and I'm just thrilled that you have a chance to showcase your work before your campus community, your friends, your family, and the world. God bless. It's always a great day to be a Hawk.
Our first presenter for today is Kori Obert. Kori presents Quinsippi Elementary School, Branding and Design. Kori's mentor is Gary Meacher. Kori, I will turn it over to you.
Hello, everybody. Like she said, I am Kori K. Obert, and I will be presenting my senior seminar graphic design project. So, for my project, we had to make a hypothetical business from scratch, and we had to create 10 different branding materials or deliverables over the course of an entire semester. And I needed to choose what kind of business I wanted to do, and my sister is actually a third grade teacher, and when I visited her school, I was like, you know what, it'd be really fun to create designs and create from scratch an elementary school. I thought it could be colorful and I could really have fun with the project overall. So the first thing that I had to do to start off my project was decide what the school name would be and what the mascot would be. So I kind of decided I wanted it to be in the Quincy area since that's where I'm from, and I really liked the name Quinsippi. There's Quinsippi Island, Quinsippi Soccer League when I was a little kid. So I was like, why don't I try to make this a name for the school? And I did some research on school mascots, all the elementary school mascots in the Quincy area, and finally I came across toucans, and when I did some research on them, I found out that they're known for intelligence and they're very colorful animals, so I just thought that'd be really fitting for an elementary school design. So I had to kind of decide what my logo would be, and I, from the start, knew I wanted to be a little clever with it, and how could I incorporate my logo with the actual title of the school. So I had to create many different versions of the logo until finally I kind of landed on this toucan's beak incorporated with the Q of Quinsippi. And so that was kind of my idea there, just trying to connect it really well and have the colors flow in with the toucans below. And then also for the project, we had to create black and white versions of the logos just to see how it would look on print. So for my style guide, which is basically a branding guideline for the entire business, I had to pick out a set of colors, icons, and fonts that would be consistently used throughout the entirety of my project. So for the colors, I actually researched some images of real toucans and sampled the colors from those photos of their beak and feathers to use for my color set. And so I have the main colors, the red, black, and orange, and then the secondary colors, which were some of the feathers and some variations of toucan beak colors. And then I had to create some icon sets. So this would be little graphics that would be throughout the school, could help with navigation. I wanted them to be very easily interpreted by children, so they were just very simple line icons. For my fonts, I researched what was most commonly used in elementary schools, and that is the font Arial, which is a very basic font just in our society. It's very easy to read, so I knew that would be my font for the main body of all of my text throughout my projects. And then for a title font, I wanted it to be still very easy to read, but also a little more whimsical for an elementary school look. So my next deliverable that I had to do was outdoor signage. So I had to look up some photos and find a just blank template of a school or building that looked kind of like a school, and just so I could mock up what my designs would look like in real life. So for my Quinsippi sign on the school, I wanted it to say elementary school underneath instead of toucans, because then when you're driving by, you know right away this is a school, you don't have to question what it is. And then I also had to create signage around the main front of the building, so the main entrance and also a street view sign, which you see on the right. I wanted to keep the roundness that is kind of in the logo along with the signage I use, so that's why I chose those shapes for the main entrance sign and the street view sign. And then also below, I just added in a little slogan that would show what the school is all about. So this sign was actually something I wanted to do from the start. I wanted an interactive sign that children could potentially play on or sit on, and it's kind of like a photo op for first day of school or new teachers. I just wanted something fun and a very eye-catching piece that would be right in the front of the school in a good photo op area. So that was definitely something I wanted to incorporate, and I'm glad that it kind of worked out in the mock-up and looks like someone actually could play on it or kid could sit on it, which was kind of challenging to figure out in just design, how to make something look like it's actually there. The next outdoor signage piece that I had to do was the parking lot navigation. So I actually went to the school that my sister works at and just looked at what their parking lot is, what is wrong with it, and how I could make it better. So I wanted to keep the colorful spirit, and that's kind of the theme of my project, is keeping things really colorful. But I did put into consideration that some people have color blindness issues, so that's why I really stuck with using a lot of icons too, so that even if you couldn't see the color of the lane, you could see the icon is the car lane or the bus lane or the parking lane. So I really wanted to make sure everyone would be able to easily understand and find their way through the parking lot navigation. So this was a project or a deliverable that I definitely wanted to incorporate, because all schools usually have their own merchandise, but usually it's just kind of slapping their logo on a t-shirt for children's schools. So I wanted to use the logo but change it up a little bit so that it wasn't the same every single time. So I kind of created a different variation, and I really ended up loving the white and black t-shirts with the kind of sunset logo. It kind of just seemed very bright and positive for a school t-shirt. And also all of these would be able to be for adults or children, and I wanted to make sure I used the 4 main colors of the school in all of the t-shirt designs. I also considered that when printing, the cost for each color can go up. So that's why I did the orange shirt, just a version of a shirt with 1 color, because that would be the cheapest for an organization to buy. My next project was really fun. It was a bus wrap. So for this, I kind of had the idea that this could be used for events or field trips or as a promotional piece, just sitting there, driving around town even, showing the school is there, and it's really fun. And I think that this is something that would maybe not be able to use on a day-to-day basis, but like I said, it'd just be very promotional. I wanted to incorporate the toucan's environment, so that's why I added a lot of tropical leaves and colorful sun. I just wanted to be very bright. I also kind of added a little fruit wheel, which represents the fruits that a toucan would eat. So I kind of wanted to get into every aspect of this, all the designs down to the wheels. And the base color, I knew I wanted to keep yellow because I wanted it to still be recognizable as a children's school bus or just a school bus in general. And this was probably the most challenging piece I did in the entire project, which was creating a website fully from scratch. The application I used for this was Adobe XD. So I wasn't able to use any type of template. I had to fully make every button, and this is actually a working website, but for the sake of time, I'm just showing you images of it. But this is the homepage on the left, and it's just kind of a basic, it shows the school, and it has a few options on the top, and a section where you could read press releases, which is on the right. An example, if you are to click on one of those, it shows the story and what that would look like. And then I wanted to put on the bottom all the contact information, social media, because that's where people most commonly look first on a website for any contact or address. So I definitely wanted to keep that consistent and still think about what is a typical layout for a website. So these were the 4 main pages of the website. I know it's kind of a lot to look at, but these are the About, Academics, Enroll, and Contact Us pages. So for the About, it's just informational, schedule. I kind of wanted to set it up so that you can scroll and it's easy to just read the page. I didn't want it to be too busy, but I wanted to keep it consistent. So for the academics, it's just basic curriculum, and all these photos were royalty-free images, which is what we have to get for our graphic design class. It's so we can have the rights to actually use these images for our school projects. And then the academics, enrollment, and then the contact form. So all of these forms are actually fillable. You can type in and press the submit button. So it was definitely challenging to get everything to actually work, and there's a lot of tedious little tasks in it, but once it all works out, it's very satisfying and feel a good moment to just be like, oh, I did it. So these are the other pages. I have Meet the Teacher, and then this page on the right is a visit page, so you could sign up a time to visit or contact, meet a teacher, whatever you want. You could actually fill this out as well. Because I made all the merchandise, I thought I needed to make a page that you could actually purchase it all, so I called it the Q Shop. And you can click on a shirt, and this is an example. If you were to click on the yellow shirt, you're able to select your size and add to cart. And then I had to create all of the cart checkout. It was just a lot of little things, but it really comes together and looks like a real website at the end because it takes all those little steps in order to make it look professional. So this was the start of my wayfinding of the school, which is just the directional signage or just the design that will be all around the school. So I focused first on the restrooms. I had to research what's the correct verbiage that is used for restrooms in elementary schools. So all elementary schools, or at least the Quincy schools, have a girls and a boys, and I just wanted to use big icons that are easily recognizable for them. And then I actually had to mock up what the inside of the restroom looked like. So for there you can see, for the boys' restroom, I actually had to Photoshop little urinals because my teacher's like, you have to make it realistic if you're presenting this to this company. So I had to add urinals into this. But overall, I wanted to make the inside of the bathrooms really fun and match the outside as well. And then these are just the general visitor or adult restrooms. There's an all gender, men's and women's, and then the inside of all of those match the outside doors. And then family restrooms and accessible restrooms. And for the family restroom, I had to Photoshop a little kids' toilet. So it's just the funny little tasks that you have to do to mock up so that it's actually realistic. But it all turned out, and I'm glad that I was able to make it look like a real family restroom and then make the outside and inside coordinate together. So I really wanted to use this as my directional arrows. I did not want to use regular just arrows that point. I thought I'll give my logo a body and he can use his wing to point in directions. And at first I thought maybe I'll use the beak, but I thought the wing was much more easy to understand that he's pointing you in a direction. So this is something I wanted to do when I was starting the wayfinding, was create a pathway that can lead a child from the start of the building, which is the bottom left is how the pathways would start, and it would lead them to their classroom eventually. So if they follow their line that says K with a square on it, then they would find their classroom. The reason that I used their letter, number, and a shape was also for the fact of color blindness, and some children also are still confused about their colors. So I wanted it to also be easy that they know they either follow their number or they follow the square. So I was just trying to think as a child, what is the easiest for them? And all of their classroom pods then are colored according to their path direction. So I had to create all of these mock-ups of kind of what their classroom pod would look like once they get there. And then I also used all the toucan arrows to guide. And then the floor navigation also I thought would help children stay in line if they were switching classes, going to PE. It's kind of like you don't have to just follow it to the classroom. They can use it as stand on the line and let's go to this class or go to this room. So I wanted it to kind of be multi-purpose. And then once they finally reach their classroom, they are at the right color, they see the shape on the door, and then there are name placed to the side that say their teacher's name, and then kindergarten or first grade below, just to make it easy for them to know and feel reassured that they made it to where they thought they would be. And the next, for the wayfinding, I had to make an entrance or a welcome desk. I wanted to just keep it the same tropical vibe. And then the gym, I wanted it to be a little more subtle because kids get very excited in a gym and you don't want them too overwhelmed by graphics and color. So I did add subtle leaf designs, but then just kind of blocked out colors and then added the logo on the gym floor as a typical gym would have. And then finally for this, I use my icons, which would be next to their location that they are at. So the library, cafeteria, gym, success center, they would know that these icons go with this room because it would be consistent throughout all of the designs in the school. The next deliverable I had to do was a calendar and planner. So I wanted to design an academic calendar that was very easy to read and easy to understand front and back. So this could be front and back. It also could be a magnet, but I wanted to make a key so that you could see on one side, no school, and it's that November 22nd is the red ball, so you know that that is no school day, or a half day is a blue triangle. So you'd be able to easily look at the calendar and see what kind of day is gonna be coming up. And then for this, I toned down the colors a little bit just so that it wouldn't be too crazy on one page to look at. So this idea is a weekly, monthly calendar. It would be dry erase board in the classrooms, big enough for children to see from far away. The teacher could write their assignments on it or any upcoming events. And so this is what it looks like kind of if it was mocked up inside a classroom. And then I also created a magnet set. So my idea for that would be for special days. So if there was picture day or field trip, someone's birthday, costume day, they would know that that day is coming up because the magnet would be on their calendar and it would be right there, big and bold on their whiteboard. I also created what would be possibly just a student notepad. This would be more for grades 3 through 5. They could write their homework or their weekly goals. And then I also created a personal teacher calendar that could just sit by their desk and they could have their own goals or tasks that they have for whatever life. This would be a teacher planner. So this has their notes, goals, daily plan, and weekly plan. And I had to consider again for printing costs. So I also mocked up just a black and white version, but I definitely wanted to keep it still recognizable that it's for the Quinsippi school. So I still left the tropical leaves in there as part of the design. This next section is my map and kiosk. So first I started creating a map. I honestly had no idea how to go about this at first because this isn't a real school that has a layout. I just had to create my own layout. So I kind of looked at other school directory maps and came up with this idea. It's an aerial view and all the classrooms are shown and there's a key that is color coded for each classroom pod, so they all go in the color scheme that is within the school itself. And then it shows all of the exits and restrooms, just all the important things you would need to see on a map. This kiosk is a touch screen kiosk that would be right when you walk into the school, located at the entrance, and on the right here is a wake screen. So one thing my teacher wanted to point out was you need to make sure people know that this is a touch screen device. So I created a design incorporating some of my designs I already had using a hand to show this is a screen that can be used. So here are all the options that can be clicked on when you tap it. So the first one is the map, and you could actually click on a classroom and then it would show this is this teacher's classroom. It would pop up, but again, for the sake of time, I'm not showing all of the steps of that, but this is actually also a usable site or kiosk. I had a directory option on there, so if you click that, it just shows the teachers and their contact, and then a request help. So if you're at the kiosk and you really don't know, who to go to, you can request help, and then someone could come and help you out, or you could say, never mind, I don't need any help. And then if you click on the daily schedule or the calendar button, the daily schedule will pop up along with the academic calendar and the year calendar. The kiosk was definitely an idea that I wasn't sure about because I wasn't sure how much it would be used in a school, but it was an initial idea, so even though I got to this point in the semester and wasn't so sure how it was going to work, I had to go with it, and I just kind of made the best of something that I wasn't really that excited about making. And to wrap up the whole semester of projects, this is my school pamphlet. I created this in Adobe InDesign, It is for parents, academic professionals, school board, anyone who wants to see what Quinsippi is all about. It just highlights everything Quinsippi has. It's very informational, and it shows what the school values. This is a foldable pamphlet or a bifold, aka it's just a folded in half pamphlet or piece of paper. This is printable and is very technical. I had to learn how to actually lay something out, and when you print it, it actually folds where it needs to or is designed to look like an actual pamphlet. So that was kind of challenging, but it brought together a lot of designs throughout the semester, so I'm glad that I saved this project for last. I was able to feature my elementary school mock-up, my map design. I used the toucan arrows to show what's on the next page of the pamphlet. I just kind of wanted to incorporate little details, and also you can see in the top left, there's the bus wrap design. So I'm really glad that I waited to make this one last because it kind of wrapped up the entire project and just brought it all together in one piece. So I definitely just loved the playfulness of this project. I had a lot of freedom with color and design since it was something geared towards children. It was definitely difficult deciding what projects were necessary or not, or when to stop on a project because there's so much content altogether. But I definitely learned a lot about how a business stays on brand and how to keep everything consistent and recognizable. And I definitely just enjoyed such an in-depth project because I never would have done anything with so much to do in one class, but I brought it together, and even though it was time-consuming and kind of difficult, I'm definitely confident that everything that I learned in this class I will take with me in my future career as a graphic designer. Thank you. Yes, does anyone have questions?
I have a question. So the stuff on the kiosk, would that also be something that could be considered for like an app or on the website?
Yeah, so the website and the kiosk I made on Adobe XD, which is an application to create things like that. And I had different templates, but they also have layouts like sizes that would fit on a phone. So it literally could say iPhone or Android, and then it would show me the correct sizing. So all of this could be sized and used for an app as well, yes.
Would you consider redoing the wayfinding out here on North Campus, particularly for communication?
Yes, so
People
actually,
can never find us.
yes, some of you may not know, I'm actually working for QU as graphic designer and finishing my degree. So this project very much helped me start incorporating what I learned to QU itself, and some of the ideas for like the academic calendar or wayfinding, we actually are starting some out here, so you'll be excited to hear about that. Yeah.
We keep finding people roaming around.
Yeah.
And I know we can't have the toucan, but maybe the hawk could get
Yeah.
more colorful.
Yes.
Get him a Hawaiian shirt. Thank you.
So I know I know it's like a theoretical mock-up that you're doing, but I just was kind of curious. Do you know about like how much do you think it would like cost to like get everything installed for this school out of curiosity?
Wow. So this was like if a school was starting from scratch for the first time, kind of not really so much a rebrand, but I'm assuming this would be a very costly project considering one of my designs you painted the concrete pathways in the parking lot. So everything that I mocked up was probably a little beyond a point that could actually be done, but I was like, I'm gonna go there because if someone had the money and really wanted to do it, they could because I at least designed it. But I highly doubt that all of the aspects of this project would be done by an elementary school in Quincy.
No, I got you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you so much.